Anyways, this is Matt Orozco from Macabre Daily, and I am so excited today to be joined by both Brandon and Garrett Baer, who are the directors and writers of the forthcoming film Don't Log Off, which is going to be released from Dread Presents on July 11th. So, gentlemen, thank you so much for spending some time to speak with me today.
Thanks for having us, Matt.
Yeah, really
Well,
appreciate it.
it's my pleasure, and I got to say, I truly enjoyed the film, and it's a kind of a feat for someone like me because I'm not the world's biggest Screenlife slash found footage fan. But I had an absolute blast with this. And my first question that I came up with was I was watching this is I never checked my phone the entire time I was watching this, which is kind of a feat. I call it the phone test whenever I'm watching something, how long it takes me to turn it over and look at it. What were some of the tricks that you all put into place to maintain this kind of high level of tension, even though we're watching everything through a screen?
Well, first of all, Matt, thank you so much for the kind words. We cannot tell you how much we appreciate that and how much that means to us. This has been a project that the nature of it being Screenlife, it takes a while to put together a movie like that. And that's also where we were able to really gestate the project and sort of exactly what you're talking about, really find those moments of suspense. It's sort of the beauty of making a Screenlife movie is it's almost akin to animation because what you're going through is you're going through sort of a wireframe process, but for us, it's screen recording. It's taking screen recordings of our own laptops and then using those to sort of build the movie. So that adage of you reread a movie three times is so, so true with Screenlife. And we had an incredible opportunity with our post-production house who were just incredible collaborators across the board. And they really allowed us that period to hone the movie and find all of those moments that you're talking about.
And to jump in as well, I think what the best part about working with your brother is there are two of us. We're able to be brutally, brutally honest with one another at any point during the edit, at any point over the course of the process. We can turn to one another, look to the other, and be like, "I'm bored," or "This isn't working," or "We got to fix this." We're able to be brutally honest with one another over the course of a filmmaking process. Obviously, we're bored over the course of making the film, but I think anytime in the edit where we're like, "We got to fix this," there are two of us that we're able to just be completely honest with one another about how we can massage and build every single moment.
Yeah, that kind of candor is so essential because we talk to a lot of filmmakers who end up working with similar collaborators or the same collaborators over a long stretch of time. And a lot of it's because of the ability to have that candor plus shorthand that makes not only filmmaking a lot more enjoyable, but a lot more efficient as you're going through the edit and you're going through setting up your shots. And you all teased at the end, there's little like behind the scenes of like you all making this. So I got a sense of the how you might have put this together, but it feels like a silly question though to ask at this point. Like, was this something that happened during the pandemic that you all like this is the only way we could film this, or was this like a post-pandemic thought of like, wait a minute, that's a good idea. Let's go back to that.
It's a great question. I think what we intended with this film, we wanted to shoot something during the height of lockdown as safely and effectively as possible. How the film came together in the intervening years was entirely up to the creative decisions that both the two of us and the rest of our team made. This film was never intended to come out during COVID. I think a lot of people, with the exception of a film like Host that came out really early, I
Right.
think we wanted to be sensitive to that period of time. And also, I don't think audiences really had that appetite early. We never intended the movie to come out then. What we wanted, though, was to shoot this film during that period of time. And we had the privilege of essentially shooting a period piece during the time at which it would have taken place, which was an immense, immense privilege. Our behind the scenes stories are nuts. Our behind the scenes stories are super, super fun. And it was indie filmmaking at its finest. And so that was, I think, pretty early on the intention.
Well, I mean, again, it's such an interesting thing to see at the end of the film because, so much of the fourth wall is about suspending your disbelief. And in genre film, particularly, we don't often get those kind of expository, behind the scenes looks because it kind of demystifies the horror a little bit. It makes you a little bit less scared of what you just saw. But in your all's case, I think it actually adds so much more questions to like, wait a minute, this is really quite impressive how you all made this show up a certain way. And it makes me wonder like what were some of the biggest challenges, but also maybe some potential shortcuts you found from being able to film in this way.
It's such a fun question, and we so appreciate that you, yeah, love the blooper reel at the end because it was really fun to put together. There were just so many moments while we were shooting this thing with everyone at home trying to figure out how their cameras worked and everything. So that truly was one of the first hurdles, which is you're working with a cast who are wearing more hats than they are typically used to wearing. What was really fortunate for us is our cast, they are seasoned professionals. They've been working for the vast majority of their lives. So the fact that we were asking them to not only act, but also camera op, also be their hair and makeup, also be their fill in the blanks. They were production designing. We were literally sending boxes of production design material to all of their homes and then asking them to like set their frames. And we were location scouting their apartments and homes. It was just sort of wild. And truly the biggest challenge was there was no precedent for this. The world shut down. Our friend had a Zoom birthday party, which is truly what gave us the idea for this movie. We were supposed to be on another movie that, of course, got shut down because of COVID. And we were just trying to put something together because we were desperate to shoot something during this period. We're so starved for any sort of connection or artistic endeavors. And so putting it together and trying to figure out what even safe COVID protocols were, that in and of itself was a hurdle because no one had done it before. So
Right.
it's hard to pinpoint one single hurdle, but we're so grateful to our team because that's how we got through it. Is we just had this incredible team of collaborators who were so nimble, who were so hungry to just get something done and to make something cool.
And are you blazing any new trails here? I mean, I think there's so much. Is there anything you picked up? You're like, actually, we can use this again, even if this isn't a Screenlife production.
So what we're interested in is our collective relationships with technology. It is something that we are starving for. I think our film and TV to address. But I think a lot of people, especially working in the genre space, call it the cell phone problem. If we had serviced the movies over in 10 minutes, we're interested in figuring out and we're interested in continuing to push the boundaries of our relationship. A great amount of suspense that we have on an everyday basis is you're waiting for a text, you're waiting for an email, and you see it pop up, and you actually feel something palpable based on your relationship to your device and whoever's on the other end of it. We feel like we capture that quite effectively. No spoilers over the course of this film, but we're interested in infusing that same amount of suspense, sort of technology dependent suspense that we feel in our everyday lives in our work going forward as well, because it's ubiquitous.
I mean, it really is, and it's interesting you mentioned that only because I think there is um, that the use of technology as a means to make this film and tell this particular story, but you also get the reason why that human interaction is so important because you have these friends who essentially literally don't want to leave this mystery unknown as they keep sending their friends supposedly into this meat grinder possibly. But it demonstrates that like it is we are more than just people on a screen. And if you were to expand this into thinking about how other kind of facets of technology impact your life, I mean, where are some of the ideas that you both have thought about as far as where you could expand the sentiments of screen life horror into other aspects of technology in our life?
There are so many, I think, directions that we could take this. I think one of the things that Garrett and I look for in all of the stories that we approach is character and theme is across the board. And so what we would certainly do, a number of our pieces really deal with people who either are sort of different or they are members of society who don't quite fit in or they're trying to figure out how they do fit in. And so we would really try to look for ways to use the technology in that regard, I think. So whether it's a child who feels the social isolation that is so exacerbated with this technology, trying to highlight, I think, some of the um, I mean, we love social commentary in film, not obviously hitting you over the head, but in a way to use genre, hopefully in a way to, to swallow that pill. And to have some fun along the way. And so if there's a way for us to use the technology to hopefully comment on it in a way that's not necessarily hitting our audience over the head, but just it's like, hey guys, let's take a look at really how this technology factors into our lives and how we're dependent on it, how we're maybe addicted to it, how maybe the AI of it all. I think all of those conversations, we're just really excited about being a part of those.
And also, we're still people on the other end of tech. To piggyback on
Right.
what Brand said, we make assumptions about people based on what we think we know about them online all the time. And then oftentimes, or occasionally, actually meet those people in real life using something like Hitchcock's Rear Window as like the North Star of seeing someone from afar. Obviously, a masterpiece in its own right, and our film dreams to exist in the same universe as that. But the thing that movie does better than anything is I see someone from far away and I make assumptions about them. We do that with technology all the time, and that serves any genre. Of course, it serves thriller, suspense, horror. Of course, it also, I think, really, really quite effectively serves every genre that we have working today. And it's something that we all do secondhand in our everyday life all the time, and we find that very dramatically rich as well.
Oh, I mean, for sure. I mean, I think the way the continued elevation of technology and interacting with our lives is not stopping. In fact, it's becoming even, I'd say, more the boundaries are being whittled away. It's seemingly a daily basis. So there is so much to explore about the human condition and relate in our relation to technology as, it takes over some of the things we're supposed to be doing, like, generating content, right? Um, and my last question for you both is around, it's a fun one, but I often find it's a little bit difficult. And I can appreciate now because someone turned it on me not too long ago, which is if you were asked to program a double feature with Don't Log Off, what movie do you think would make a nice complement to it?
I was really excited for this question because Matt, we listened to a number of your episodes, and so we were prepared,
Okay.
and we love the question, and I've been noodling on it, and I think we might have a couple answers between the two of
Yes.
us, but I think my head immediately went to the companion piece, Creep, if we're a Duplass
Ooh.
fan. It's, of course, in this world, found footage with a Screenlife component to it. And then the other one, because I was so torn, is actually the exact same filmmaker, and it's also Screenlife, but totally different genre. It's Language Lessons. If you yeah, are familiar, which is the film that they made during lockdown. So genre-wise, completely different, but it is another film that, like we say, Don't Log Off is not about COVID. COVID is the backdrop. COVID is sort of the circumstance, but really it's about this group of friends and one who goes missing. I feel like Language Lessons is much the same, and that the context is the pandemic, the social isolation, and then you have this incredible story of these two people.
I love that. What about you, Garrett?
Wow, we get both. Okay, so because Brand, of course, went the screen life route, I would steer clear of something like found footage. I think I would just go back to the film I just referenced, which is the greatest film looking through the window. Ours, of course, is looking through a digital window, is a nice throwback. Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window to tell us all how we got here in the first place. I think would be the sort of that is the North Star for any time anyone is wondering what's going on with their neighbors, and it shows us the perhaps most shining example of this beautiful lineage film history.
Yeah, and the interrelationship of voyeurism and horror which is always exciting and enticing. But gentlemen, I just want to say thank you to you both for taking some time to chat about the film and to remind everyone that's watching this that you can catch it on VOD on July 11th. I highly recommend this, getting some friends together, turning off the lights, and just giving yourself over to the next 90 some odd minutes of suspense. Because again, it's huge accomplishment to be able to make something as intense and as well paced as this, given that it all exists within just the meta screen life format. So really looking forward to whatever you work on. Oh, sorry, July 15th. I said July 11th. My bad. It's July 15th. We'll let my error exist in perpetuity for the rest of the world to mock me for. But July 15th is that release date. And again, thank you, gentlemen, for taking the time to speak with me.
Thanks for having us on, Matt.
Thanks, Matt. We
All right.
really appreciate it.
My pleasure.